Welcome to 52 Authors, 52 Weeks, Season 3. I'm Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator. Each week, I sit down with a different author to explore what lies behind the pages. Growth, purpose, finding your voice. Enjoy today's episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. Today, I am joined by Jason Johnson, author of Detrimental Kindness. Now, watch this, folks. How not to lose yourself while helping others. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Thank you so much for having me, Doc. It's such an amazing opportunity to be here to share my passion with everyone and to just be around people who are wanting to take care of themselves and others at the same time and really learn how to figure out that balance. I think it's a challenge for a lot of people. So this is my passion. I love doing this.
I love it. So before we get into some things about the book, why don't you tell our listening, viewing audience about you, where you're from, and then we'll get into the book.
Okay, sure. So I grew up in a small town in Missouri, Kennett, Missouri. We are on the map, although probably we have a big dot on the map. So yeah, I grew up in we say the Midwest, although it has a little bit of a southern feel because where I'm from is on the Arkansas border. So there's a little bit of a southern feel to it as well. But I've lived all over the U.S. I've lived in Florida, other places as well. And what I've done over the last, I'd say 7 or 8 years is I have been doing coaching, some fitness coaching, some life coaching, but still holding down the corporate job as well, because I really like helping people. And sometimes I can't do it in the capacity that I wanted to, or I couldn't do it in the capacity I wanted to in the corporate world, working in banking, working for the government. So I started venturing into a modality where I could actually help people because I saw people asking for help. But I was like, I need the tools to really help them do it. And then in my own experience, I have been clean and sober for 15 years, going on 16 years. So a lot of the work and transformation that I've done on myself, I must give credit to the addiction recovery field. I've learned so much from that. I'm still in it. I'm still doing the work. I have not graduated, but I love it. I love just really being aware of what I'm doing, aware of how I'm interacting with others, aware of what it takes to really have a transformation. And it starts with awareness. That's the reason I even wrote the book in the first place, is because it starts with just being awareness. They taught us in the addiction recovery world that the first step is to admit that something's not right here. So that's a little bit about me.
I love that. So congratulations on your journey. I think that a lot of us, when we hear the term addiction, we instantly think about drugs and alcohol, but there's a laundry list of addictions that many of us have that we don't want to admit. And so I like that you mentioned the first step is really just, hey, calling it out. I am addicted to TikTok. I am addicted to Snapchat. I'm a news person, and so I was watching CNN the other day, and I saw where some young people had sued Meta because of they felt like it was doing things to draw them in, and I'm like, many of us are like, do 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 do. But we don't want to admit it, right? And one of the things that I have to force myself to do, and I feel like I'm a recovering corporate hero because I used to be so conditioned to responding to the email immediately. And now it's like, you will have my standard 24 hours before I respond. It may be longer if I have some other things going on. I am going to respond, but I don't feel the need today to immediately respond. And that's really about me protecting me.
100%. It's been a couple of years now. I used to be the type of person that as soon as I woke up, that was me. It was the email. I must respond to the email. And I started actually giving myself just a mindful moment, just taking 1 minute. There's not going to be any responding to anything. There's not going to be looking at a phone or a laptop or anything. This moment is just to sit with me and just let myself be present. And it's such a gift because I think some of these things, like cell phones and technology, they're designed to keep us fixated on the next fix, whether that is responding to an email or getting an exciting news or something like that. But at the end of the day, we are still the ones that are in control of how we respond, or like you said, how soon we respond as well. So I love that you brought that up.
And you know what? We're not robots.
No.
We are not like the little AI bot where you send me the email and it's like, and sometimes, I don't know about you, Jason, but I found that a lot of times when people send you emails, they actually know the answer. And if you allow that intentional pause, sometimes they'll say, oh, you know what? Never mind. I know the answer. And I'm like, good, because that takes that off of my list of things to do.
Yeah. I'm laughing not at you, but because I recognize the truth in that. And I say that all the time. Sometimes I think I'm the only one that says, oh, we're not robots, but it's true. We are not robots. We are human beings with feeling, but also we are a species that is able to reflect. No other species is able to do that. So I love that. It's part of why I even wrote my book as well, because in the world of where you're people pleasing and doing detrimental kindness, you want to be the one to everybody to come to, and you're the one he's smart, he's got the answer. However, we stifle other people's own process, own growth when we do that. I always tell a lot of my clients, and they're confused sometimes. I'm like, you actually are the expert here. You really do have a lot of great answers. My job is to help bring some of those answers out. Sometimes I need to give you the answer, but at the end of the day, you're not even going to be dependent on me as your coach either. This is really about you having your own autonomy to do what needs to be done.
I love that you're really helping them recognize their own strengths, because oftentimes they don't see it in themselves.
Yeah, I have a lot of fitness clients that don't have confidence that they can adhere to, like a meal plan structure, we'll call it. Oh no, I'm the type of person. I'm like, wait, we got to fix that vocabulary first, because you're already telling yourself you can't going in. So it's just about reframing it sometimes for a lot of people, so that they can see, like, oh wait, you know what? I actually went to my grandchild's birthday party and I didn't eat 5 pieces of cake that time. And I'm like, you see?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I think that it's that mindset, that operating in a fixed mindset, that tells us that we can't. I don't know where I was at, and they had dessert, and someone said, "Are you going to have dessert?" And I said, "No, because tomorrow," this was actually recently. Tomorrow I'm going to a winery. I'm going to be in California. On my bucket list was to visit Napa Valley. And so I'm going to have a glass of wine. So I'm not going to have this dessert today, because I'm going to have that glass of wine tomorrow. And I'm okay with that, because number one, I don't drink a lot, but I was going somewhere where I was going to this African-American winery. I think it's called Brown's Estates or something. I actually just went. And I wanted to be able to enjoy that experience without having the other calories that I put into my body on my mind. Because, that stuff stays with you. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at yourself. I weigh myself every day, right? So I know what my weight is. I'm a menopausal woman. So, all the things that happen with that. But I think it's really about that reframing your mindset. And it's difficult to do when you're older. My husband says all the time, I'm 53 years old and this is how I am.
I'm 43. I said that. I used to say that a lot. And my younger sibling got me. My younger sibling said, "You know that you keep using that as a reason not to mention."
We're programmed. Yes. So let's get into the book a little bit. And in the beginning of the book, first of all, I love this picture where you have them versus you, because I feel like we are all caught up in everybody else's highlight reel and everybody else's stuff, that you lose yourself in the process. But in the book, you introduce these three faces of detrimental kindness. Can you walk us through those and how they show up in our lives?
Absolutely. Those faces, and we don't always wear one face. We are, I like to say players or actors or characters, personas, how we, depending on the environment or context that we're in, we kind of show up differently. I noticed it as well. And I'm glad my family pointed it out that, we show up at work one day, but sometimes things get a little bit more relaxed when you get home. So a different version might show up at home. But yes, I think the most common example I'll think of is in the workplace, but also in people that are in the helping field. So that first face of detrimental kindness is the accommodator. The accommodator is going to make sure that you are taken care of. And when I say taken care of, that means that you are comfortable. So they will actually think about it ahead of time to see what you actually need. And this is not a bad thing. I'm not knocking, accommodating people, but sometimes it's a survival tactic and we don't actually need to do that. So the accommodator, oftentimes what they will do, it's very, I guess I'll use the word sneaky sometimes, because the person that they're taking care of is not necessarily asking to be accommodated. So sometimes they cross the line over into doing a little bit too much caretaking, a little bit too much over giving is what happens. So that's the accommodator. We also have the peacekeeper. The peacekeeper, and I've seen this in different cultures. I forgot to mention, you asked me earlier where I am. I'm in South America right now. I've traveled to 29 countries. Woohoo! Proud of that. So anyway, I've seen different cultures, and it shows up differently in different cultures. But a lot of times, in order to avoid something uncomfortable or embarrassing someone, which is in a way a good thing, but actually sometimes we don't get things done efficiently how we need to, because we're trying to avoid being the person that's rocking the boat or calling something out when it needs to be done. So they will avoid conflict almost at any cost. They will actually be dishonest and say, "Oh no, everything's fine here. Don't worry. We'll get it all taken care of." But the moment they walk into the other room, there comes the anger, the resentment, even feeling bitter. "I can't believe Jason asked me to get him another glass of water." I'm just making an example, but they won't do anything to your face at all. They will just say, "You know what? I'm not even going to cause any type of, I say, ruckus," because they feel uncomfortable. That's what it is. Discomfort. And we'll get into it, I think, a little bit about sometimes why people stay stuck in detrimental kindness. And it's really because they can't sit with the discomfort, or they maybe even have a belief. We talked about that. They have a belief that making other people uncomfortable, it makes them a bad person. That's one of the things that we have in order to overcome detrimental kindness, is getting rid of the belief is the rescuer. If you do not have a good excuse, if you have enough money, if you are short on something, the rescuer is going to come and pull you out of trouble, is what they're going to do. They are known in your consequences. They don't always know you're doing this for them. With the rescuer, you're meaning facing your consequences. They just cannot bear that you're going to go to jail, or that you're getting a ticket, Or, you did something wrong to someone and they're going to come and address it. So they'll try and address it first, right? To get the other person out of the situation, or maybe even get themselves out of the situation as well. So again, these are the three faces. It shows up in different ways. Those are just the most common ways that I mentioned, but they all come from the same thing. And that is basically the belief that we're operating from, that in order to have peace or have peace of mind, everybody else has to be okay or accommodated or out of danger. That's where it boils down to.
Wow, I love that. I love how you really put a face to the three types. So, as I was thinking about the three faces, the other thing that came to mind for me is the concept of being comfortable saying no because you feel guilty. So, talk to us about why does setting boundaries feel so uncomfortable?
I would say it's for a couple of different reasons. Number one, um, from a very young age, and this is not to say anything bad about anybody that's a parent or that's raising a child. But oftentimes, what happens is when people are raising children, parents or whoever it is raising children, they want the child to be on their best behavior. There are things I could name, but we'll just say that those are the most common examples. So, in order to do that, in order to make that happen, the child must suppress a lot of times their own desires, what are considered to be unacceptable behaviors as well. And also, if someone else asks them for something, they're expected to not be known as the person that doesn't like to give or is selfish. So that's really where it comes, the belief that I'm not really a kind because I say no. I'm a really good person because I'm disappointing someone else. So that's really where it comes from. It's programmed or conditioned into us, not necessarily intentionally. It's just some family systems, different cultures or dynamics operate. The only way that it functions sometimes is because of that, because children are taught to, hey, be quiet, don't say anything, don't cause any problems. Um, so that belief stays with them. I have known in my studies in university, I got my three different things, bachelor's and master's, and part of my doctorate too. I'm on my way. In psychology. So I did learn that children from a very young age, by the time they're 6 or 7 year old, they are sponges and they're already picking up their belief systems. They're already picking up their opposites as well. So a lot of times through practice, through their interactions, already learning, I must say no, or my no is actually dangerous. So I'm going to have problems if I actually say that. So they don't know that this is going on. This is, of course, happening, as they're growing up in different types of situations. But that's essentially where it comes from. So a lot of people start saying no. What happens is the guilt. And they can feel it. I used to feel it right here, dead smack in my throat. It's almost like my throat would be closed. And I could not say no. Just this tightness in my chest, even sweating a little bit, palm sweating. A person know when people actually, this is what I love about this work that I do. People, like you said, they have realizations. People around me actually realize that they appreciated me more when I told them no directly, rather than, as we say, beating around the bush or implying a no. They actually want us to set boundaries and say, hey, this is what's acceptable and this is what's not acceptable. That way we can just end the guessing game. So I guess essentially the answer to the question can be long-winded sometimes. It's really grown into us or conditioned or programmed into us, and then it's the guilt of saying first thing in the morning. Sometimes just going for a walk, changing your state helps you to start sitting with your emotions, and it doesn't actually take over you start to realize that you are, while you're feeling this emotion, you're still in control.
I love that. So, two things. Number one, congratulations on being in the doctoral journey. I know that you're going to finish. It's definitely a journey that those of us who have gone through it, going through it, we're in a club all by ourselves because it definitely is fun. But you said something that was a perfect transition to my next question, because you talked about being 5 or 6. And in your book, and I just told my last guest this, number one, number 7 is my favorite number. And for some reason, in most of the books I read, chapter 7 is like my jam. So in your book, chapter 7, page 83, you talk about when you were 6 years old and this situation with the truck. I know you remember that because you wrote it. But the title of this chapter is about letting go of the guilt. Talk to us about that, letting go of it.
7 is, I don't know if it's my favorite number, but I really love 7. It's got a lot of connection. Go of guilt. What happens is, and this goes again back to our conditioning and to our programming. Some of us even heard messages like the instance with the toy, that you should basically be ashamed of yourself, right? For not wanting to share. What kind of child are you? A good boy always shares their toys. And I know people, parents, and whoever it is, they do stuff like that. But oftentimes we don't think that, not always needed. This child is going to have a situation where their life is actually going to depend on them saying, and if they're not prepared, and if they cannot get their nervous system to calm down enough to actually let it come out of their mouth, they may actually be in danger. And that moment sat with me for years. I could not figure out, why can I get this situation out of my head? Of course, I was a lot younger, so I don't have the tools to process, this toy situation that, I guess you could say, a series of situations happened, maybe not in the same environment, in other environments, where I was like, okay, the toy, and then there was something else. And how come I'm always the one having to give away stuff? How come I'm always the one to put myself last and be the bigger person? It all started to make sense that this is a pattern. What I always tell people, the good news, just like a pattern can be formed, we can deform it. We can break that habit. Oh, I'm just, the king of setting boundaries.
I grew to this.
I think I've been posted online a couple of weeks ago, like someone asked me to do something, and I won't say that I slipped. I wasn't paying attention, and I had said yes. And I was like, you know what? I have been doing good for a while, and then a yes, an automatic came out again. But I realized, you know what? It's not always linear when we transform. Sometimes we may go back into a little relapse or something like that. But we've always got tools available that is going to help us. And one of those things is just to be prepared for the no. Sometimes in the past, when I first started working on this, I would rehearse in the mirror. I'm admitting that out loud. I would rehearse, because certain people I knew I'm going to have to say no to. So it's not like a guessing game. I know I'm going to have to tell this person no. So I started to practice how I was actually going to say no to them. Also, if someone came and asked me for something, right, a request to do something, how I was going to not necessarily directly say no, but give myself time if I wanted to say yes or no, because sometimes I just wasn't sure. Like you said earlier, I'm not the kind, should I say, I'm not telling people not to be nice. I'm asking you to pay attention to how you are showing your kindness and your niceness to other people. So letting go of the guilt, I think, really, really comes from, again, the upbringing that we received, and then just messages all over society for women, especially. I didn't even realize it until I started interviewing people, because I would know. I'm obviously not a woman, so I don't know. You're a lot of times role is expected for you to just keep the peace, for you to be, all these things. But even strong people have a breaking point. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
check on us. It's important. I mean, they might, but we can't it's no guarantee. We have to be the ones to check on ourselves.
Absolutely. So, listen, we're almost out of time. So, there's a couple of things I want to say. Number one, I have learned that if I've said yes, it's okay for me to go back and rescind my yes without feeling guilty, right? Like I said yes to speaking somewhere, and then a week later, now the speaking engagement was months down the road, but I realized, oh, they said I was going to have exposure to this large audience, but they couldn't pay me, and I said yes because of the exposure. But then when I went to look at the flights, I'm like, no, it's not worth it for me. So I'm going to have to respectfully decline. And that doesn't change my character. That doesn't change who I am. It really just, I am setting boundaries about what is and isn't going to work for me.
It's so funny you say that. I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't put up with afterwards. I was like, people don't realize that you can change your mind. It's totally okay. It's in some song. I think it might have been Betty Wright. She's like, it's my prerogative to change my mind.
Yes, it was Betty. Oh my gosh. Those songs from back in the day, they had some words and some messages.
Yes, in those songs. But yes, you can change your mind and say, hey, you know what? We had an agreement, but this does not work for me. That is one of my favorite lines to say. And that is okay because we find ourselves in situations we don't want to be in. We're resentful, we're bitter. And that is not a way to do business. That is not a way to really live life.
Absolutely. So we are out of time. And so there's two things I would like to do. Number one, I want you to tell our listening viewing audience where they can find you, and then leave us with some final thoughts on detrimental kindness.
So the best place to find me, I am mostly on Facebook, and that's where you can connect with me directly, also through DM. So you'll see my profile, which I can invite to you, and we can put a link for the audience, but it's under, and that's on Facebook. And then on Instagram, it's under Coach Jason Johnson. There are a lot of Jason Johnsons in this world. So I didn't really want to put Coach Jason Johnson, but that is the only unique way to actually really identify me from everybody else. And then just word, I guess, for the audience is, I would say, to read the book, number one. Yes, I am promoting it because I wrote it, and it's got tools in there that are really going to help you, like I said, not to change overnight, but to start seeing that, number one, change is possible. At the end of the day, if we cannot include ourselves in our kindness, the question I leave the audience with is it really kindness if you are not included in the equation?
I love that. You must, first of all, you're studying psychology. So at one of them classes, the earlier ones, probably in undergrad, you learned about Maslow and the hierarchy of needs. And I feel like self-preservation is something that a lot of people miss because they're being kind. And I'm a kind person, but I also am skilled at the art of no. It's an art, right? But you and sometimes I do say yes out of kindness. Sometimes something good happens out of it, right? Somebody comes up to me and says, oh, I'm so glad you're here. There was some things that you said that really spoke to me, and so that makes me glad I say yes. But life is too short to be regretting stuff, so say no, folks.
Yeah, I leave the audience with this question. If you are not included in your own kindness, and everybody else is, but you're not, is it really kindness? That's a question that each person can answer for themselves.
I love it. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being here today. You're in Colombia. I'm jealous. Not really jealous because I'm a world traveler myself, right? I've been to several places. I don't know if Colombia is on my list, so I have to find out from you, what the experience was like. But I really appreciate you being a part of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. Everyone, I just finished chatting with Jason Johnson, author of Detrimental Kindness, How Not to Lose Yourself When Helping Others. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone, this has been another amazing episode of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. I'll see you next time. You've just experienced another conversation from 52 Authors, 52 Weeks, Season 3. The conversation may pause here, but the growth continues. I'm Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator, and I'll see you next week.